All right, so in this video, I'm gonna show you how to make this neon grunge animation effect for your music videos and visualizers. I've been editing and animating music videos and visualizers and cover art for over 6 years now. I've worked with artists like Guapdad4000, CJ Fly, Nick Caution, Felly, and many more. I'm a huge fan of this effect because it's kind of like a new play on an old style. Kind of combines multiple styles if you do it right. It's super customizable, so you can make it fit your video entirely, and it's very easy to do. So let's jump right into it. So starting off here, I got the full video just to show you. This is what the timeline looks like. And I've prepared a little sample here. So I have the footage from the first clip, and I also rotoscoped out the character for this scene. And so we're gonna start off by just adding some effects to this footage. We're gonna start off with the mosaic effect. Kind of give it that like digitized feel. Obviously 10 by 10 is way too thick. I'm gonna go like 250 by 250. So it just gives it a little bit of a pixelated look. Next up, we're gonna add some noise to this video. Let's try something around like 28%. And you'll see how this all comes together in a second. We're gonna add a tritone effect next. And we're gonna stick with the white. We're gonna make the midtones that neon green. You can kind of do any neon. I've played around with pink. Like, you can get pretty funky with this, doing kind of like a gradient map style. But for this one, we're gonna stick with the green. Blend with original. Here, keep it mostly there. Next, we're gonna add a threshold, CC threshold onto this. The cool thing about this is, too, you can do it without any plugins. These are all native to After Effects. We're gonna do something like 8,175-ish. That looks good. And we're gonna blend this like 80% with the original. Next up, we're gonna add a grid. We're gonna generate the grid here. Change the size form to width and height sliders, and then we're gonna go probably 10, 10. So you get a small grid there. The border like 2, maybe 3. And then blending mode, we're gonna do overlay, probably like 25%, something light there. So you can see it, but it almost makes like a halftone. And if you bump this up even more, maybe we'll keep it around 5. Kind of almost like a halftone effect on that. Up next, we're gonna add another tritone below this. Keep it the same colors. You can mess with it if you want to get real funky, but I like to keep it the same color here. And we're gonna blend with the original like 29%. And then finish it up with some glow on top of that. And that's a little hard, but we're gonna go radius probably 0.5. So it does kind of get that washed out feel, but I think it adds to it. And what we're gonna do here is copy this. We're gonna cut it. And for this scene underneath the character, flipping, Denzel Curry flipping, I'm gonna really crank up the threshold, so we're gonna blend it less, and we're gonna make that a 0% blend with original. And then we're gonna copy these effects to the rotoscoped layer. And then just to really make the character stand out, we're gonna add an invert, which will make him white. And we're gonna add just the same effects over to this clip. Another thing you can do here is keyframe the effects over time so they change, obviously. For example, this next clip, we start off with kind of a more normal color, and then we're gonna increase the threshold and increase the tritone effect so it kind of warps into this distorted neon color as it zooms out. And we're actually gonna just extend this a little bit so it takes longer. Now we're just gonna add some animations to this, get that neon grunge effect. And for these animations, we're gonna hop into the Sketchbox pack. It's a pack of over 150 animated sketch graphics that are simply drag and drop. I spend a ton of time making these, so you can just drag and drop them, customize them, they're ready to go. You can get an extra 10% off of this pack with code NEON for the next 7 days. Check that out. I'll put the link in the description. But we're gonna start off, so we have a bunch of arrows, scribbles, lines, frames and backgrounds, letters, numbers, symbols, shapes and objects. I'm gonna jump down to these shapes here, and there's a sparkle pop animation here, which we're gonna set up as he begins his jump. I'm gonna drop that on there. These are drawn for 4K, so you're gonna have to scale it down. And over time it does this little pop. But we are going to speed that up. So we're gonna go to time, enable time remapping, cut that back, and then shorten it. So it's a quick pop. And then to get this, give it that neon effect, we're gonna do change to color. And from white, and we're gonna change it to this neon green. And make sure it's on hue, lightness, and saturation. And I'm gonna also add some glow to this and increase the radius so you can see it on this sparkle pop animation here. And I'm realizing that the neon is kind of really harsh on this bass clip. So what I'm going to do is blend with the original a little bit more on all of the tritones, where the neon kind of really stands out, and maybe bump up the threshold a little bit so we get something like this. And then I'm just gonna make a bunch of these. Put that one first, and kind of just offset them a bit, so that as he jumps, they're moving and popping like that. And then say we want to add a scribble around his head, like a circular scribble type thing, or a square. Call it this crazy square. This is what it looks like over time. So we're just going to copy those same effects from the sparkle over to that. We're going to put this on top of the footage because we're going to kind of track his head with this. We're still going to do a time remap and make it faster. But in order to extend this, you can Alt or Option click on the stopwatch, hit this little expression language menu, and then property, loop out duration. And now it's gonna loop as long as you extend that, like so. I'm gonna crank down the scale a bit, and then we can just keyframe the position of this. So we're gonna start here, kind of just track his head. Doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is sketchy. And then have it cut off just before it transitions. And maybe when he lands, you want to add another animation there. So you can get a little preview of what these look like up here. Triple underline. Be cool. Let's throw that on top here. Gonna add those same effects to it. Scale it down, and we'll have this just appear right as he lands. So right there. And again, we're gonna time remap this just to speed it up. Another really cool part of the sketchbox is the frames. So you can preview them again up there. So we're gonna add like a corner frame to this clip where it inverts, gets really crazy thresholdy and inverts. Again, we're gonna time remap this so it flickers really fast, and we're gonna loop it. Once again, we're gonna copy over these effects so we kind of get like a neon glow to this. Scale it down to right around 50. So it's up in the corners. Comes in right as it goes to crazy threshold. And we'll extend it to just before that, so it looks something like that. And to really make this hit, I'm gonna add a new adjustment layer. Go right at the transition here. And I don't know if you guys have ever used this or not, but shake sauce, Brian Dalmata's shake sauce is, I mean, it's the best shake transitions. So I'm gonna do a kind of a quick hit with a flash there, right on the adjustment layer. And now it automatically keyframes in this shake. So you should be able to see it might skip the first time through. but something like that. It's really cool and adds to the effect quite a bit, especially with the flash, with the shake. So there's all kinds of things you can do with these animation effects. Get that grungy neon style. So let's say we get into here. In the shapes and objects, there's a gun sight, which I think would be cool to drag on and kind of have over his head as it zooms out. So again, we're gonna enable time remapping, speed this up quite a bit so it's flickering. Gonna Alt or Option click and loop that so we can make it as long as we want. And we'll probably make it go right up until the end, which would be here. So we'll extend that. And we're gonna scale this down. And we can make it get smaller as the camera zooms out too. That'll be a cool effect, maybe even rotate. So let's say we're here, position, rotation. Actually, we want to keyframe scale as well. So if we get down to the end here, we're going to want it down here, and we're going to want it small. And maybe say it does one rotation throughout that movement. Let's see if that's enough to track it. It's kind of cool how it's not exactly on his head, kind of spinning around like he's getting the sights. But another thing you can do to these effects is add the roughen edges effect. This can get really cool as you mess with it. There's tons of ways to do it. Just play around with it. I like to do the spiky edge type and then increase the border quite a bit. And you can add like a noise grain effect to it, kind of like that. And then increase the complexity even, get it crazier. That might be a little too crazy. Let's go 3 there, and it'll look something like this. So it kind of blends well with that grainy noise effect, the grunge animation effect there, background. And let's add another frame to this one just to really finish it off. So we get a spiky frame, splatter frame. There's a dashed frame, which I like. I'm gonna add that here. Scale that down to about 50 to be able to see it. And the shake transition will be cool because it will kind of distort this and pull it off the screen for a second. And maybe we can add the same roughen edges effect to that, see how it looks. Might be a little too intense, so we can bring down the complexity, and you can also bring down the border size to get a more straightforward dashed look. But we're also gonna, again, enable time remapping, speed that up so it flickers real fast, and loop it. So as you can see, these are super customizable. There's tons of ways that you can make these animated graphics mesh with your video. Like obviously these weren't grungy neon animations when I started, but now we have something like that. So there's tons of ways you can do this. Again, if you want an extra 10% off, use code NEON at checkout. That only applies for the next 7 days, so be sure to get that. And I hope you can create something sick with these sketch graphics. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if there's any questions, concerns, and happy creating.